Okay, mes amis, another great day at Mudfossil University, looking into some work done by it seems like a really nice young guy. He's got his dog with him. He goes out in the, right on site and looking at the stuff. Now, my stuff is small, so I have it here. I don't have to go anywhere. He's going and looking at these huge structures that nobody can explain. And they call them anomalies. They're just there and nobody has any explanation for them at all, except me. So let's get started. Okay, my friends, as you know, I claim to understand geology, and it is not what they thought it was. Now, this is the POV channel. He seems like a nice guy. I've tried to contact him because he goes right out on site. I'd love to have him do some investigation for me, but I think I know what this stuff is just by seeing it from here. And this, my friends, I'm just going to drop the bomb right now. This is a heart. Okay, so I always say you have to understand biology, anatomy, chemistry, all that stuff. Let's just start with this right here. I clipped off a couple pictures here and there from what he was asking, because he says, what are these things? Does anybody have any explanations? And yes, I do. This is heart muscle. And he said, oh, come on, Roger. I said, yes, it is. All you have to do is go and search heart muscle, and there it is. So, and it's all over the internet. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be too smart to go and figure this out. So that's something that nobody has an explanation for. Well, let's see what else. Let's just take a look at the whole structure of this heart, because it's absolutely huge, but it's not even gigantic as these Mudfossil giants go. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just the way life is. In the ancient past, I don't know how to explain it. All I can do is show it. Once again, you got to know the anatomy, you got to know the chemistry, you got to know the colors. You see this? This is connective tissue, this whitish looking stuff. And it is tough, and because this is a heart muscle. This is where the sarcomeres are, and all of that blood has to be infused in here. That's where all these little holes are. That's for the blood to flush into there, because your heart has to do this all day long. And when you start running and jogging and doing this and that, your heart's got to go, and it really gets working. And it needs a ton of blood, and it has all of this big heavy-duty connective tissue. And it wraps around in a big, like a rubber band, and it just sort of squirts like this. And I'll show you that. But anyway, this is from him looking. These are him and his dog here, I think, right standing here. He's got his drone up here. Now, there's things in here like this. That's not just a ride. That is a tube. There's tubing in here, and these are all little tubing spots that run into the heart. And I'll show you the anatomical. Very hard to miss it. All right, check this out. He's got his drone going. Now, where do you see the bands of muscle versus connective tissue? Here it goes. See this? That's connective tissue. This is the muscle, the red, bloody part. You see the layers? Look how big they are. And all of that has to be serviced with blood so fast, it's just incredible. Your heart is pumping like crazy, especially when you start doing exercises and stuff. You see? You see the layers? That's the connective tissue versus the red stuff. And it's going down into, there's a million tubes and holes. See this? This is a tube. All right, that was a tube at some point heading somewhere, and so was this one here. They're all over these things. And the heart, I mean, I think I've shown you, or will show you, but I believe these are tubes. I mean, there's a bazillion holes, and that is exactly what you find in hearts. And one this size, when you see these are just little muscle fibers, these are nothing more than just tiny little blood vessels. They're small. And then you see the huge ones are, the big ones, the aorta and so forth. You see this? Watch this. That is some form of a tube, I'm almost certain. You see? And then they have all these, blood vessels. This is nothing more than fibers of muscle. You can see it, the banding. It's not hard to understand. And all of these little holes are where blood had to flow in to service this. There's so much blood flowing through your heart, first of all, but in order to make your heart pump, you have to have a ton of blood to service these tissues. It's a huge amount of blood, which requires a huge amount of blood vessels. This is how it works. You see this? This is not some kind of geological formation. And look at all the patterns of the tissues. All of those holes are, he's looking at them, he's checking them out. You know, I'd love to have somebody that would do this and go out and look at these places, and I could ask questions to say, could you do this, could you do that? And he's got all the little tools to do it, the drone and all that stuff. So anyway, it's very interesting, and he asked questions. Does anybody know about this? Does anybody know about this stuff? Anybody know about that stuff? Yeah, I can give some answers, I believe. And I don't think people are really looking a lot for answers. I think it's more of a mystery, makes everything more exciting. All right, this is what a heart is like, and I'll show you some more about it, but this is the rubber band. It just goes wrapping around, and it basically twists like that. Now, in between all of these red muscle is that connective tissue. You have to have something that will not give much, but enough. And then you have to have something that pulls that. And that's what the two of them together make the rubber band. All right, this is extraordinarily cool. You see these little stripes looking things and this white looking stuff? That is the tendinous material that locks in, and then this is the rubber band that does all this stuff. This is a smooth muscle here, and then you see the other heart muscle, and then this is the separation between the ventricles. You know, the right and the left ventricle. Now, there's a whole ton of plumbing up in here, a ton of it, which we will see in a second, because what we're going to do, be looking down, is at that heart, and we're going to see all the red stuff below, and we're going to see this stuff at the top, and we're going to see these little straps going in. That's what a tendon does. A lot of them, because they have to move back and forth on their own self. It's not just one big block. They have to move like this. All of these, there's a ton of little separations, and each one of them is a tendon. Now don't forget, this is from that POV channel, and I understand what's going on here. This white is that tendinous looking stuff. You see, I'm going to home right in on this. This is the heart. And all of these little holes are plumbing that is in that heart. And then here's the three main ones. Well, there's actually four main ones. All right, you got one here. All right, and I can't, there's names for them, but who cares? Then you got another big, this one here is the aorta, the big one. Then you got another one down here. And then you got one over here. These are the main ones. So there's three big ones. Remember what you're seeing here. Boom, boom, boom. Those three, like in a triangle. And then one hanging off the side. There might even be another one here. They're all over the place. There is so many holes in your heart. You have no idea. And you see this right here? Remember I told you those little straps coming up? There it is. And that's where it locks in there. And it comes down, and then it turns into the red muscle. And this is what holds it, and the rest of it twists like this. And here, I'm going to show you the actual heart. And this is it. Remember, boom, 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 boom. Let's see if we can find those boom, 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 booms and those tut-tut-tut-tuts. All right, here's the three here that we were talking about before. And I believe that's the fourth one. And this is those little fibers that hold in to lock that muscle in place, and this is the smooth muscle. We're going to see all of this in extreme detail. He does a nice job. It's just that I would like to have him look at things that I can ask him about, and I think he thinks I'm crazy. Most people do, but I'm showing what's real here. Nobody else has any explanation for this, so why am I the crazy one? As far as I'm concerned, there's no doubt about it. This is locking it in. Remember I said there's all kinds of little plumbing. There's a little hole here, there's one over here. Where you see these spots and where you see these green things growing in here, they love blood. And this is a spot with blood. That's a spot of blood. That's some blood down in here and over in here and over in here. And that's what it is. Wherever there was blood, there's green things grow. And that's in these spots. So this is my opinion, my expert opinion. This is a heart. You see this? You have your split right down the side here. We have the same thing in that heart. You see, there's the main, probably that's the aorta, I'm not sure. But there's that split where it comes down, and there's that white stuff that glues in at the top, and there's one on this side, there's some over on this side. And this is the heart muscles. And all those little dots, those little holes there, are to infuse blood into those sarcomeres so that the muscle can do this. I mean, you have no idea how much blood pumps through your heart outside of the heart, of the amount of blood is pushing in through your body. If you ever saw somebody that was really stimulated and they get a poke in an artery, it just squirts like a hose coming out of there. And, they're gigantic, absolutely. But you see all these little holes? That's not just for nothing. They are there because that's part of the heart's plumbing. Let me show you. All right, I'm going to show you another thing. This is the muscle of the heart. Of that I am certain. This is the tendinous area that locks in. Of that I am certain. This, I believe, is the aorta. Not completely certain. But this, you see all the green, we know that there's something growing down there because it was blood. You see these little attachments here? This is where that tendinous stuff locked in, and this is the other side where the tendinous stuff locked in. And below that is the muscle. You have to have an anchor. There's anchors around there, and then the muscle wrapped around. So it goes probably pretty deep in the ground. All of these holes are not there for nothing. They are there because your heart is saturated with blood vessels that service the muscle. The muscle is just unbelievably powerful. I mean, your whole life it just keeps, and some people stress it to the max, doing all kinds of exercises and things. That's fine, I suppose it's all right. I don't know. But this, I'm telling you right now, that is, as far as I'm concerned, that is probably the aorta. I would like to see around here, because this I think is the blood plug, but I'm not certain of that. Again, I'd love to have somebody on site go out and see these things. And look at this, because again, I think I have the answers, but I still have some questions. All right, this should give you a pretty good idea of how wired the heart is as far as plumbing goes. I mean, there's holes and tubes going every which way, and every one of these has to. They're running all over that stuff, and you can see all these little lines coming out of them, and it's all over the place there. I can't see any other possibility other than that thing's a heart. You see this? I think I saw this branch looking thing over at the heart. Hold on, we'll go see it. But you can see how much plumbing and tubes and all that stuff is going on in the heart. And all of them have spots where they ended up eroding and turning into those cavities. All right, follow me through on this. Here's the big tube coming down, and this right here, I think, is that tube that I will show you in a second. And a lot of erosion. There's a ton of erosion outside of the heart. So, obviously, we're not seeing everything, but you can see these are all the bands of the heart. And here is this tube, I think, is this tube right here. I believe. It looks like it to me. And then you have all of this plumbing. It's saturated, obviously, with blood. And you can see these are all the different little plumbing tubes that are going, as we just saw, the thing is saturated with little tubes going here and there. And every bit of the muscle has to be completely saturated with blood 24/7. You can't stop. Well, you lose the oxygen and all that coming in from the heart for the blood, you're done. All right, so I think I've made a pretty good case here. And there's a lot of stuff all over the place. There's hearts that nobody's ever considered before. Look at this. This goes right down. This is the tubing of one of these, heart blood supplies. It's like I say, it's quite eroded. And then you can see this is like where all these little veins and arteries and so forth cover the heart. And I mean, they cover it, absolutely cover it. These are nothing. These are huge. There's still thousands of other ones just so small you can't see them. They're the very finest part. And again, there's just nothing, not like there's nothing here at all. There is smooth muscle here. All right, but it's just saturated with blood vessels. It's not just smooth muscle, it's saturated with blood vessels. You see, here's another spot right here. That's those little tiny webs of blood vessels. They're just everywhere. Your body runs on blood. Every single cell in your body, 100% of the cells in your body need blood on a regular basis, just continuously pumping through you. If that stops, it's all over. Once again, this is how a heart has to be plumbed. It has to have all of those little blood vessels. See them running right down in a row? You see what we got here? That's exactly what happens in the heart. They're just right, boom, boom, boom. It's very well patterned, and it has to be. It has to be continuously flushed with nutrients. And this is what this looks like when it's not dead. Well, I guess it's dead, but it's not all eroded out. It has these blocks turn into those blocks that we just saw before. These are sarcomeres. They pull in. Your muscle goes zoom, 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 zoom. These are sarcomeres. And this is what happens to the sarcomeres when you wash out all of the stuff that pulls. This is the connective tissue. The other part was the stuff that pulls this connective tissue together. But that is like a big long rope, like a big open fabric rope. And inside of every one of these little blocks is a little pincher. And they pinch, 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 but there's so many of them pinching at one time, you get a big movement of the heart. And this is the bottom part. This probably has collapsed down on it. And the last video he did, he was asking about the same structure was right around another heart. He was at another heart. And there's the tendon balls are here too, the little anchor balls, the enthesis balls. Let me show you that because I think I forgot to show you that. Hold on. All right, here he is going up onto the heart, and he's going to be showing those little interstitium ball marbles, he calls them. Now, again, this is the POV guy, and he's got a really nice dog. Watch it, and I'm kind of worried about this dog. He's right hanging over the edge looking down. All right, watch.
He's about, let's say, 2 feet tall, 3 feet long, about 60 pounds. So whenever you see Tui running across the rock, that's a good size reference for you.
All right, now here's what he's going to be asking about. Does anybody know about this? Yes, I do. I'd love to discuss it.
So you can see these little marbles getting formed in the rock, and you can see them at all different stages of their genesis. Does anybody know how long it takes for one of these marbles to actually be created and pop?
Yes, I do, as long as it takes for a heart to grow. All right, what he was just pointing at was all these little marbles. You see this? That's that bullet right there here. These are the balls, and they're over in here. And this is like the layer of the membranes. And it's, you could see very similar structures where he was, that all of those layering, all that. Now, look at this. This is in what they call now the interstitium. All right, so this is the outside layer. Let's say that's the smooth muscle. Inside is all these fabric with all these balls. That's right on the surface so that it can do this and not pull apart. Then underneath you have the heavy-duty muscle. And this is what has eroded away and left these balls, just like they are the Moki marbles. They're all over the place. And that's because this was either skin or some surface area. The stuff we're seeing out there is from the smooth muscle, where it locks in. And that would probably be somewhere up around the tendinous area. Again, I'd like to know. I'd like to be able to ask him questions. Where'd you see this stuff? Can you show me the difference, the transition between where the ball stopped and where something solid took place? And I think I understand it pretty well. Anyway, this is Hunstanton Beach in the United Kingdom. Look at this, same stuff. These balls are the same as these balls, only this is either a bigger creature or a different tissue. Every single layer in your body of membrane has these in it. The separation between one layer to the next layer has these, because that's what holds you together. And here's what it is. Here, this is it right here. And this layer is the interstitium. It's a fascia. It lays on top of your organs and everywhere in your body. Every tissue has it to separate. And in between it has this gooey little stuff so the tissue can move around and it doesn't get all torn up and broken and everything. But the balls are the anchors, and they bring you back to where you're supposed to be. That's what these do. And now that the heart is all eroded, which he was showing here, was all eroded, that's all you see is the balls. Okay, let me make this point. This is in basically the fascia area, which separates the good tissue from the bad stuff outside. Think of it that way. And when these get breached, these membranes, you get a disease, a chronic disease, where it's always trying to invade you. And normally it turns into cancer. And that's the invasion of tissue through this layer into your good tissue. Now, I have found dozens, I believe, of different styles of these tendon enthesis balls, or whatever you want to call them. They are interstitium balls. Let's go with the interstitium balls, because that's where you find them. And that layer is in this membranous layer that coats all your organs and attaches to your muscles and all that stuff. They're anchors, but they're flexible anchors. They can move around. They have straps on them. Now, I don't see any straps on these, but they may have. I can see there's little pockets coming out of them. I don't know whether it's just shadows or not, but this is something I'd like to investigate, because these are different than the normal stone balls, and I have hundreds of pictures of those things. All right, so don't forget, these are normally on skin and so forth, and this is just the eroded skin. That's all this is, the mud that's eroded away and left these balls in the upper areas, and all this stuff eroded away, so you can see them quite clearly here. And those are the Moki marbles in Utah, Arizona. And then back here you have actually some kind of, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a heart, maybe some kind of flesh. A lot of them have this eggshell style, and some of them have all kinds of crosshatches inside. So it's something we should go over. And I just saw something the other day, I think nobody can explain these marbles, these round stone balls all over the earth. And they keep saying that, and nobody will pay attention to what is right in front of their faces. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this. A lot of them have this structure inside. They're like eggshells, and then some of them have cross hatches inside and different hexagon shapes and all kinds of different things, because they're in different places in the body which require different anatomy. You know, it stretches this way or it doesn't stretch. It can do this or it doesn't do that. You know, there's all kinds of anatomy going on. It's fabulous to look at, because these are the things nobody's ever even seen before. They didn't even know this layer existed in the body before. This is interstitium now. And until 2018, they decided, yes, it is and actually it's the biggest organ in the human body right now. I've been posting on this over and over for years, and they agree with it, but it's just like they don't want to talk about it, because it upends everything they've been saying. And I can understand that, but it's not right. You should be able to talk about the truth and not be suppressed. And trust me, there is no more suppression than Velikowski and I have had. You can't come. You know, he got destroyed. I just never got started because I wasn't an academic like him. He was a friend of Einstein. They still destroyed him. So what are they going to do to me? They don't even recognize me. But I've been showing this stuff for years, and people know it now. And as a matter of fact, I got to tell you something. This is really funny. Bill Bennett, who used to be the Secretary of Education, was on a show the other day, and I'm watching, and he says, education is getting crazy now. They're teaching anything they want. They're telling the kids things. They have to stick with the facts. He said, and history and geology was always the same thing. So whatever we say in the history, it means that's the geology. There's a layer here, and 100,000 years later, another layer, 100,000 years later, another 100, and they go like this. And he says, we got to stick to that. Everybody got to teach the same thing. They can't just be teaching anything they want. I just about fell on the floor, because you cannot teach what's true. You have to teach the dogma. And then if you stray out of that, they say, that guy's he's causing too much trouble. He's confusing people. And he doesn't have any evidence. Well, I have all the evidence, and they refuse to examine it because it basically takes away their status and their authority to force you to say what they want you to say. And that's exactly right now. They have engaged in a complete domination of your intelligence. If you don't say what they tell you to say, they fail you, and they say he's an idiot. That person's a fool. They can't even repeat what we told them to say. And then you're in trouble. So if you think for yourself, it's going to be a tough road. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be hard road. But I think to think for yourself is probably the best option. Well, I don't know. It didn't help me or hurt me as far as I'm concerned. I just do what I do. Anyway, I love you all. And, if you want to get real, get real. Here's the place to do it. Mudfossil University. Tell your friends. Don't be afraid to speak. All right? That's the problem. People are afraid of the backlash they're going to get, which they will. You'll get slapped around. Well, it's part of the package. Anyway, I love you all. Merry Christmas. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from me before then, though. All right. Thank you. Bye.